Hey everyone, Bob DePasquale here, and I'm having camera troubles again. We're going to jump back to the other cam. It is time for Twitter Jam number 3. We got a special guest today. We're going to bring Brad on in just a minute. I'm waiting for Joe to jump on as well. We got a great topic today. We're going to be talking about time management with yourself and founding your business. So I'm glad you all could join us here today. We got some great questions. Remember, we're live on LinkedIn, we're live on YouTube, and Twitter is where you can submit your questions as well. So make sure you jump on Twitter, and that's where you're going to be able to respond to the questions. We do have a chat here in the StreamYard as well, but Twitter is where we engage the questions. So make sure you catch that. And hashtag FounderJam is the best, is the place to be. So I am going to bring on Brad here in just a moment. I want to talk to Brad. He's the founder, owner of Transition to RIA, a great business in the financial services space, helping advisors make decisions on how to transition into the independent space. And Brad's been doing that for quite a while, has lots of experience in the industry, also has a podcast and a video feed where he provides lots of information for people making that transition. Let's see if we can get Brad on here.
There Brad, we go.
Hear me?
Howdy.
How you doing, man?
Good. Thanks for the intro. I'm just trying to keep up with you on the videos, man. You are setting the pace. You are the pace car out there on the race.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, if I can get my cameras to work properly, I'm always switching back and forth between cameras. So you'd think I would know more about it when we're on video. I'm posting so many videos. So anyway, Founder Jam is all about helping people who founded companies, helping people consider starting companies, and just do really cool stuff in any industry, really. But I know that your main role is helping people do that in the financial space. So I thought you'd be a good person to bring on. This is our third ever Founder Jam. So right. You're the inaugural guest, and I thought you could add some value. And maybe you could tell us a little bit about your company real quick and what you do specifically.
Yeah, and it's a fun. You nailed it. I mean, and so I'll explain by helping. I guess just the quick explanation is been in the industry 20 years, about 10 plus of that in the RIA space, registered investment advisor space. And so I help advisors, not new to the industry, advisors that have been in the industry generally for some time, that are in a different affiliation model, often more of an employee type model, that want to start their own RIA, start their own business, and help them understand kind of what that process looks like and what that transition's like. But where that's extra exciting and kind of relates to this conversation is it's a fun gig when you're just almost exclusively, almost every person I work with is starting their own business. And so clearly there's anxiety with that. Clearly there's a lot of factors that you have to put into that. But at the same time, it's also a very exciting thing. And Bob, I know you crossed that bridge yourself recently, and a lot of emotions go into it, but a lot of just thrill at the same time. So it's very rewarding to be alongside a lot of these folks as they do that.
Yeah. So how do you this is not a scheduled question, but it just popped in my mind. How do you navigate that? Because yeah, it's absolutely exciting, but there's also a lot of other stresses that come in. So do you find that people need assistance with kind of the emotional aspect of it more than even the technical stuff?
Yeah, and I'll tell you. So it's my own firm, as Bob said. Transition to RIA is the name of it. But there was a time, right, during the bulk of my career, that I was working at that large firm corporate environment, and in part was having these same kind of conversations of helping advisors understand how to make that jump, how to start their RIA, and all that process. And so it's interesting though, because I realized I was pretty hypocritical at the time, because here I was, this W-2 employee, and I get that nice little paycheck comes in, and I get the health benefits, and I'm telling people, no, go start your own business, quit that thing you have, go start your own business, it'll all work out, you'll be fine, you'll figure all that stuff out. And there I was, not having done it myself. And so I think I can relate a lot better, especially on that emotional front, of now having taken that step, proactively raised my hand, said, I'm leaving, I'm going in a different direction. And so I know firsthand there are emotions in it, and I can sympathize with that, but I also can sympathize with, the excitement about it as well. Not sympathize about the excitement. I can enjoy in the excitement of it. So.
Sure. Well, that's cool. We got Joe on here. Joe, man, how are you doing?
Hey guys, happy Friday. Brad, great to have you on, man. Nice to meet you. Thanks for joining us this week.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right.
Yeah. So we covered, we're covering just kind of the basic stuff that Brad does. And I asked him, kind of comparing and contrasting the emotional joy that you get from opening your own company, but also some of the stresses, right? I mean, I've heard it said many times before, it's the greatest thing in the world when you open your own company and you get to make all the decisions. But the problem is you have to make all the decisions.
That's right.
Let's say, I'll tell you one just thing I can relate to now after becoming a business owner, that, how many times in your life until you've crossed that bridge did you go into a new restaurant or a new bar or a new pet store, anything that's on the, the kind of a smaller scale local type thing. And I never stopped to appreciate, oh, wow, at a new restaurant, oh, wow, if the ice machine broke today, someone had to figure that out, and that's the less glamorous stuff, but it's everything has to be figured out. And I just have a new appreciation for that, for business owners to work through those steps. And this past year was obviously unprecedented of the amount of hurdles that had to be overcome in that regard. But
I hear you. And what better year it was to start a business, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I mean, we picked quite a time to do that, us over at Initiate Impact. So anyway, so the style for Founder Jam is really, we want to educate as many people as possible. We want to just help them get some ideas and really, I think, Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's just motivate people to actually do it. I mean, I host a podcast called Speaking of Impact, and we always talk about taking action. And I think sometimes we have great ideas, but we don't actually implement them. And that's so important. So that's what we're about here at Founder Jam too, right, Joe?
Yeah, we want to get everyone together and help them overcome that fear of getting started, or you're 1 year in, however long you've been doing it. There's always challenges, right? There's always obstacles, but also let's bring together a lot of that excitement, bring people together from all over the world, tons of networking, bring together those ideas. Bobby and I talk each week. We hold this on Fridays because we're going to just carry some of that momentum through the weekend. Everyone's so busy during the week, and how do we finish strong heading into the next week? So that's why we've been doing this on Fridays. So yeah, it's just about trying to get some of that positive energy, get everybody going, and hopefully educate and learn from others at the same time.
Yep. Founder Jam Friday, man.
That's right. Founder Jam Fridays.
Founder Jam Friday, all about founding. So if you're just joining us now, we got special guest on Founder Jam number 3 today, Brad Wales from Transition to RAA, and we're just bringing on someone who helps people transition from an employee role into owning their own organization. He specializes in the financial services industry. So, Joe, if you want to, we want to start kicking off questions, and I guess we can go from there.
Yeah, let's give it a go here. I'll tweet it out, and you can tee it up here on the broadcast.
Yep, sounds good. So Brad, what we do is we tweet out the question, and then we take responses from there, and then also we have a chat. I don't know if you can see the chat in the room as a guest in the studio, but there's
something on my screen. We'll see what pops up.
Okay, yeah, we'll see what you get. You may get rapid fire questions, or you may see nothing. I don't know.
Okay.
So for the folks over at StreamYard, if anyone wants to come on the broadcast and answer this question for me, let me know.
That's right.
Yeah. If it's a tough question, I'm gonna act like I didn't see it. So
yeah, tweet at StreamYard. All right, cool. So yeah, fire up that first question, Joe. I'll put it on the banner here, and we'll.
Yep, we're good to go. Just tweeted it out a second ago.
All right, sweet. So question number 1, everyone: coffee, gym, reading time with your kids. What's your party starter, and what habits build your daily momentum? Man, that is. The copy crew, Joe, was working deep on that one again.
We've elevated our game. 3rd time's the charm, and we're taking things to the next level here.
Daily momentum, I like it though. Daily momentum is so important. when you wake up in the morning and you founded an organization, in my limited experience having founded an organization, I find that when there's too many things to do, it actually slows your momentum when you have too many things going on. And finding those habits, those few habits that you have. I actually saw a post on LinkedIn. If you're watching, Dr. Travis Perry recently asked, what's your morning routine like? And my first reaction was, well, I don't really have a morning routine. I just kind of get up and I do what I always do. And then I realized I actually do have a pretty regimented morning routine, and that helps me build momentum for the day. So let's see what kind of responses we get here.
I can give you a little, you want me to give you a little anecdote while that's coming in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so I know when when you leave, especially if you're leaving a, corporate environment or whatnot to start your own business, you do, the nice thing is you do have that flexibility perhaps. Now, if you have a restaurant, you have to open by a certain time. Obviously, there's some hard timelines there, but if you're doing something that, whether you start at 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., if it kind of would go unknown by other people, that you're completely self-accountable at that point. So I know I didn't miss a single day. I mean, my last day in a corporate environment, and then my very next, at least business day, Monday through Friday, is the same routine for me. Of I happen to work out in the morning is kind of what works for me. But you could otherwise very quickly kind of kick back your start to the day, kick back, and now you're not as productive. So I'm big on keeping to that routine.
Yeah, routines are super important. Now, you want to make sure that whatever you're doing in the routine is helpful, but at the same time,
yeah.
Just and honestly, for me, it's stuff that isn't directly related to business. It's not get up and check 10 emails or get up and record one of these videos that you were talking about that I record, Brad. It was get up, exercise, stretch, eat, whatever those self-care things are, make me feel replenished for the day. And then it makes those other things that are business related not so, maybe not so tough to deal with. So, Joe, are you back on sound, Joe?
I'm back. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we hear you good, man.
Some wild technical difficulties this week, but we're overcoming.
That's
true entrepreneurial spirit.
Being a founder, man. That's what we do. We overcome. That's what it's all about. All right. So what kind of responses we got here? Who's saying? I think having coffee, gym, reading time with your kids. All those things are part of our routine, and we may not even realize it at times. Sometimes we just do stuff, and we actually have a routine. We don't even do it. Maybe we should capitalize on it more. I don't know. I also think that some people, when you make this transition into owning a business or starting a business, you don't even know what the appropriate routines even are, and a lot of times your routine has to change in a good way, but it has to change, and you may not even realize that that's the case. I know for myself, it was, okay, what do I do now? What are the important things that I need to do? So, Brad, how long did you say you've been in the industry?
So I've been in the industry almost 20 years in the financial services industry, and then launched my independent firm last year. Like I said, I've been in the same space for a long time now.
Mm-hmm. So you got a similar experience. You probably had somewhat of a routine somewhere along the line in all your roles, and then all of a sudden it's like, bam! Now I got to create my routine. It's not what it used to be.
Yeah, and it's tough because I always wonder. My son, I'd love. He's in high school, and when he goes off to college, I'd love to be able to say, hey, go out and right from the jump, try to start your own business. I'm a big believer in being entrepreneurial and all that. And certainly there's benefits to that. Now the trade-off is, I did learn a lot in that corporate environment of what kind of routines are like and what expectations are like. And perhaps that's better set me up for success now on my own. And obviously there's pros and cons to going entrepreneurial right away versus a corporate environment right away. And it is harder. The longer you're in that corporate environment, the more money you make, maybe the more, comfortable you get in your lifestyle. It makes it harder to ever walk away from that. So it's neither path is perfect, but I think it helped me from a structure standpoint in all the various roles I was in.
Yeah, structure for sure. Joe, what about you, man? You've been all over the world working in your field. Oh wait, you got to unmute your mic, dude.
Man, I think we finally got it. I think we finally got everything set with the tech. What would I say? I think the structure, I had to be okay with a different structure, working with kind of dramatic different time zones with Asia. And so, my mornings may start at 10 or 11 a.m. And I discovered that I tried to do the late nights and early mornings, and you end up with 5 hours of sleep, and it's no good. You can only maintain that for so long. And I hear this a lot from entrepreneurs. It doesn't matter. They work with different time zones, just they're consumed with good, lots of good things, even family and friends and work. And okay, I get 5 hours of sleep, and I get 4 hours of sleep. And it's not enough. It's not sustainable. Like you mentioned, the self-care. You're really good at the self-care and being really disciplined. I mean, I'm learning from you, following you on Instagram. And so, yeah, for me, I had to be okay with developing an abnormal or unusual structure for my days. It's certainly coffee and then reading emails, if you put that emails in brackets.
Yeah.
That would be number two.
But you're working with people on the other side of the world, so you have a little bit of an excuse. I mean, Brad and I are just mere USA people.
So you guys just wake up at noon just because. Okay, I get it. That's cool. I'm jealous.
That's funny. Well, in your world too, I mean, stuff is, well, not that everyone's world is 24 hours these days because of technology, but I mean, your marketing stuff is going on all over, in Australia in the middle of the night, right? I mean, it doesn't matter. It's nonstop. So you could easily be collecting data at any time of the day, probably.
Yeah, and it's really about relationships. I think we touched on this maybe in the first week. It's typically our meetings, that are late in the day are with our people. They're live meetings, not just kind of busy work in the evening. So it's keeping those relationships and that human connection going, regardless of what time zone. I think the first time we take it for granted, you can do a live feed like this with someone in Shanghai or Auckland, New Zealand, or Sydney, and there's virtually no lag. 13,000 miles away is pretty remarkable. And I'm fortunate that sort of technology exists, for our business.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Cool. Well, we got any good? I think we've kind of beat the question number one pretty well, huh?
Yeah. Question one feels good. Let's hop on to question number two. I think is going to spice things up a little bit as well.
All right, let's hear it. Let's see. Question number two is: you have 168 hours in a week. Do you use all of them wisely? Yes or no? Well, the short answer is no, but I'm assuming
that's too short of an answer. You have to give us more. You have to give us some context.
Is that really that's a pretty high under bar there? 100.
Yeah, right. I mean, 168 hours. Well, first of all, I commend the copy team for doing the math on that. That I believe that's 24 times 7.
I hope it's correct because we kind of went with the flow with that. But I believe. So yeah, 168, and so you typically have 8 or 9 hours a day times 7. So now you're in the 60s. So you're left with like 100 hours a week.
Yeah,
of awake time.
Of sleep. Well, yeah. 8 or 9 hours of sleep for us. For you, you've got 25 hours of sleep.
I don't think you guys both get 8 hours, man. There's no way. If you do, then congratulations,
dude.
You're crushing it.
9 to 5. I sleep a 9 to 5.
Good for you. That's awesome, man.
I sleep a 9 to 5. If my wife's not up all night, reading or something.
Working, yeah.
Working on lesson plans. She's a kindergarten teacher.
Yeah.
That's another topic someday. Anyway, so 168 hours in a week, that is a lot. I think for me, no, is every single one of them wisely? I couldn't begin to put myself on a pedestal like that, but I try, and I've learned over the years to intentionally use them in a specific way, whatever it might be, right? It's kind of similar to having a budget where every dollar is spoken for, right? Even if you're not spending it, there's still a purpose behind the dollars to save specifically for this or whatever it is. So the same thing with the hours in a week. I try not to have any hours that aren't at least working hours that aren't addressed. And that could be a buffer block or an hour of time to go through emails. It doesn't mean it's specifically defined exactly what I'm doing, but there is a definition of what should be done during that period of time. And that helps me. So I don't know about you guys.
How about you, Brad?
I'll throw in there. I think, I think you do need some time to, whether it's dumb time, whatever you want to call it, that you can just, your brain can relax. And whether you're just watching some television show, because I think if you're dialed in all the time, that's actually worse off in the long run. But and so I think you do have to have some of it. But I also am very conscientious of that. If I'm sitting around and I'm just watching a television show or just looking at videos on YouTube or playing on Twitter or whatever it is I'm doing, I mean, at some point you got to ask yourself, is this productive time? I do need some downtime. I do need some thoughtless time. But I think probably all of us, there's time we could be more productive, and I think we just have to kind of keep that in mind. I once worked with a very, very, very successful founder, very successful guy, and his thing was he would go. So obviously can't really do it now, but he would go to the movies. He was a big guy that would go to the movies, the movie theater, and his whole thing was, the reason he liked it so much was called a 2-hour block of time or whatever, where even if he wanted to, he couldn't be working on his business, and he can kind of mentally check out for like 2 hours. And that was kind of his therapy almost, was it kind of forced him to just take 2 hours, not 8 hours, but 2 hours to check out was what worked for him.
Cool. Sometimes you need that time.
Yeah. And Brad, I think you touched on it. Like, even though it's downtime, that's productive because it does have a benefit of like recharging, right? And kind of like resetting. So it is beneficial, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it looks like we got Alan over on LinkedIn. Alan Kelly says his mornings have all to do with managing my enthusiasm to do work. So this kind of ties in both the last two questions. To get the great 3 ideas I wake up and want to attend to. So exercise in the AM is never to satisfy for being distracted. Advice. Cool. Thanks for adding to that.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Alan. Appreciate it. Thanks for joining in today, man. We appreciate it. Good to hear from you.
Cool. So managing enthusiasm. I'd like to say I'm enthusiastic a lot. I'm definitely enthusiastic, like right before we start Founder Jam. I'll tell you that. So
I can attest to that in the planning. Yep. I agree.
I think Brad could probably sense my enthusiasm about it, but then he was like, okay, so what do you want me to do? I'm like, all right, well, we'll just, we're all smart guys, kind of.
I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
I mean, that's kind of what business is about, right? I mean, especially when you start something new, it's you don't even know what to ask. You don't even know what to do. You figure it out. So you make wise choices, you make educated decisions, and you do. You take action. Cool. All right. I think this question's been 168 hours. Can move on. Well, Alan's response would probably apply to question number 3 too.
Yeah, he didn't have them in advance. I promise I didn't.
No, yeah, he wasn't a plant. So
that's true. Yeah.
Checks in the mail, Alan.
Yep.
So morning, afternoon, or evening, which is your peak energy period? When are you most productive? From Fridays at 2 p.m. to 2:30.
That's right. Absolutely. We're not watching movies then. No.
Oh, that's right.
Exactly. No.
I'll throw some out there on that if you want.
Go for it.
Interested in you don't want to be I got to work nights, I got to work weekends. But to be honest, some of my most productive time is on the weekend, because I'm not, even if it's just a couple hours, because I'm not at that point. You can do the proactive stuff, not just the reactive, because your plate just doesn't keep at least in my line of work, I'm not getting too much stuff coming in on weekends, so I'm not having to respond to stuff just to be reactive. And I can do some of my, when I'm kind of less distracted, if you will, a couple hours on a weekend. And I know that's not necessarily healthy advice to say, oh, you should be working weekends as well. But I mean, if you're running your own business, there is a lot of that mixed into it, but that's often when it's most productive. And so then to answer the question specifically, unfortunately, evenings kind of fall into that same path whenever everyone else starts kind of slowing down. It is unfortunately, it is what it is. It's oftentimes most productive during those times.
Sure. I got a question for you, Brad. So with the advisors that you're advising, do you find that these type of questions come up, or maybe the work that you do helping them figure out what's a good fit, what technology is, are those things kind of related to this type of, I mean, are you helping them essentially be more wise with their time when you're advising them on those different points?
Well, I'll tell you, they have to be wise, because unfortunately for those folks that don't know kind of how the industry operates, and it depends on where an advisor is currently, it's not always like this, but there are a lot of times where the advisor, and this is just how the industry operates, it's nothing shady or anything like that, the advisor essentially has to be working behind the scenes, without their current employer knowing that they're exploring another option. And so whether that's purposely doing things during their lunch break, purposely doing things in the morning, purposely doing things in the evening. I have plenty of conversations with advisors when they're sitting in their car, just to step away, and they can kind of have those conversations. And that's pretty typical. I mean, even someone that just works at a, corporate job, if you go in, you're interviewing for some job at another company, it's not like you let everyone know, oh, by the way, I'm looking. So it's kind of typical, but so it does come up, and that makes for some long days, because these are very busy advisors just doing their day job, with their clients. And then on top of that, they have to fit in this extra time to work with someone like me to explore this possible new path. So it's absolutely, which maybe sets them up well for, running their own business, that there are a lot of hours and a lot of time that has to go into it.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't even think about it that way. I love where you went with that question. They have to squeeze in their transitionary time and research amidst what they're already doing. It's like it's almost like there's a really serious overlap there. You're almost running two businesses at once, kind of.
I had a guy the other day. We had a scheduled call. It was 8 a.m. start time, and I make my calendar available for people to book things. And I generally say most things, hey, you can even book me as early as 7 a.m. just to try to be accommodative. And so I'm East Coast, and he booked 8 a.m. So I was like, oh wow, hey, you like this stuff. You get an early start, and it turns out he was in California, so it was 5 a.m. his time. So I was like, you really like this stuff. But his thing, and actually, ironically, on the conversation of productivity, he had, I think it was two younger kids, and so where he got a lot of his productivity, and he was using that to talk to me, was he wakes up before his kids wake up, and he got in like a full hour of time before then the kids wake up, and then he's got to do all the kind of getting the kids ready for the day and things like that. And so he knocked out a good hour, and actually and he had told me this would come. Sure enough, on cue, about an hour into it, you could hear the kids in the background getting restless, and then he had to go on to tend to that. But so it kind of shows you got to work with whatever your circumstances are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. I was interviewing someone the other day, and she was in the West Coast. And I was suggested, okay, we'll do like 10 a.m., 11, I want to make sure, you don't have to get up too early. She's like, no, we need to do it earlier before the kids get up. So,
yeah, so maybe that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Joe, what's up? What about you, man? What about you working with people on the other side of the world?
I think it's evenings for me. I feel most relaxed then. And so I think it's time to focus. Maybe because there's fewer distractions, text messages, phone calls, people working normal time zones are coming through during the day, and then I work in the evening. But I would say that's not always the most healthy, right? Because you get into this cycle again of up early, up early and up too late. Mm-hmm. So I'm working on changing that. Actually, is something that I'm working on, which is being more focused with my time and my energy. So I'm trying to move it to mornings. This is 5 days in a row, guys, that I was up before 9 a.m. East Coast time. first time in 3 years. So they tell you that it takes 14 days to change your sleep cycle. It sounds easy when you start it. Days 1, 2, and 3 are rough. They're pretty rough.
I bet.
But yeah, for me, it's probably right now evenings, but hopefully by Founder Jam 4, it's more so mornings by then.
So you got a week.
We have a week.
We're going to time you on it.
We'll check in next week for sure.
No, what was the morning text message today? Was I'm awake, but it came at like 8 o'clock. So
it did finally. Brad, if you have a running joke, right? I normally am going to sleep sometimes when Bobby's waking up and starting his morning run, and so he'll text me something, and I won't respond for like 6 hours, and it's very rude, for when you're working with someone, and I'll just write back to him awake, so that he knows I'm not delaying the response to him, or ignoring him. Yeah, this is the first one. That's how we started off every day.
Originally I thought it was just like either a waving the white flag type of thing, or it was I'm alive, like don't worry, I didn't die.
Yeah, I'm not partying that much. I wish we had a little more of that, but yeah, I'm not burning the candle at both ends. So
no, you're just working anyway. Cool. Well, let's it's past 2:30 here, so let's jump to question number 4.
Yep, pushed it out there. We're ready to go. This is a pretty cool one.
Speaking of, sleep is your superpower. This one comes from Matt Walker. What are you willing to sacrifice for 1 more hour of sleep? Oh, man. I'm not answering this one first. We're going to you, Joe. We're going to you on this one. Brad and I have been taking all the tough one.
Oh man, what would I sacrifice? This might sound pretty I guess, I don't know. I won't say anything.
Just say it.
Yeah, I was gonna say just like scrolling. Like I think the time you just spend sometimes scrolling on Instagram or on Snapchat. I mean, for us, we're on it a lot, right? Because that's where we're advertising. Most of our clients are on paid social, but you do kind of get caught in this zone, even if it's news, right? Even if you're reading like news, it doesn't have to be just entertainment, but sort of this attention addiction to the device and to the platforms that probably could do in 1 hour, at least 45 minutes less there, and add to sleep. So
yeah, I think we could.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if that was a cop out on that question or if I was being too real with everyone. But
this is a Twitter chat, right? And I've seen there's a million people on Twitter who are out there sharing information and giving ideas and productivity and all that. And how many times have I seen what I do is I shut off my screens an hour before I go to bed, right? And, maybe the solution is to not only shut off your screen, but just go to bed an hour earlier.
Yeah.
Right?
A crazy idea.
Like instead of shutting off your screen and be like, okay, I got to stay awake for another 60 minutes, just shut your screen off earlier and go to bed. I don't know. But
I'd throw in some perspective on that for the whole sleep thing. So I don't know, I'm maybe 7 hours a night is kind of my wheelhouse. And you think, gosh, how great it would be if I could get an extra hour. And then there's some people, I think even Donald Trump was famous for this, that he can go for 4 hours a night and be fine. And you think, man, I wish I was, and I knew I worked with a lady too, that was apparently her shtick. And you think, oh wow, how much more could I get done in the day if I only had to sleep for 4 hours as opposed to my 7 hours. But I think it's perspective, because imagine if, us normal humans required 10 hours and here we were talking about, wow, imagine if you could dial that back to 7 hours, you'd have so much more time. So I think it's, it's perspective. You always want more regardless of what it is, and
yeah. And we just went past the transition to speaking of transitions, transition to daylight savings time. And we lost an hour, right? And everyone's complaining, oh, I lost an hour. And honestly, I love daylight savings time because I like it's dark, it's lighter later. But I feel that like that extra hour that's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of time.
I heard a thing too, that it's so cruel that it switches over at like 2 a.m. in the morning. It's like why can't we advance the clock at like Friday at 4 p.m.? You know, no one's going to complain about that.
That's a good point. You know,
2 a.m. in the morning. God, you know?
Well, this is only the third Founder Jam, so we don't really have that much clout yet, but maybe we can get something done here.
Make a couple calls, Bob. See what you can do.
Yeah, I got some connections. Joe, you got some connections on the other side of the world too. So
yeah, well, I'll just call up Mark there in Palo Alto and see if he can change something up for us pretty quick, you know.
Yeah. Hey, so speaking of the other side of the world, so just out of curiosity, do they change the time in Australia? Do you know that?
Yeah, they do, and this is going to sound terrible because I've been working with them for a while. I think New Zealand has one extra or one less switch with the time zones because they're, I believe, in their own time zone where they're located, which for anyone watching, turns out New Zealand's about 400 miles off the coast of Australia. I had always thought it was much closer than that, but it's actually quite far away. So I believe all of my meeting times have stayed the same this week. So I'm presuming
they didn't change.
They haven't changed yet. Yeah, they haven't changed yet. Yeah. So although I'm sure we're gonna get some comments about this one because I should know this, and people may correct us here on Instagram and on Twitter.
All right. Well, listen, if that's what it takes to get those tweets, then right there.
Yeah.
If we need to criticize Joe, it's
bring it on. Bring it on, because if it's good for the community, let's do it. Let's do it.
So I haven't answered the question yet. I want to be conscious of the time here. I will say, for me, one thing I would sacrifice for sleep is commuting, and thankfully I haven't had to do that. I haven't had to do that a lot recently, but to be honest with you, I don't want to go back to driving more. I kind of like this virtual world, to be honest with you. I like in my off time, definitely like in-person social gatherings, but during my work time, I feel more productive. So I'd like to eliminate the commuting, but if we had to go back to it, that would be my choice. So
good answer.
Cool. All right. Well, man, 37 minutes flies by. That's how we do it here. We're kind of conversational and we end when we're done. Brad, I really appreciate you jumping on with us. It's been cool. This stuff will be documented, everyone. Just to let you know, it gets saved so you can check out the replays. You can, if someone said something interesting, then you can jump back on YouTube and watch it out there too. Brad Wales, you're awesome, man. Really appreciate it. Love the work that you're doing. Transition to RIA. Is that the website, transitiontoria.com?
Yes, sir. No, and I appreciate you having me on. This was fun. I like the good banter. I like I guess it's not entirely unscripted since we had questions, but certainly, at least on my side, there was no awareness ahead of time. I like the shooting from the hip. Bob just told me there might be some questions, and we'll see what happens. So.
I knew you could handle it, man. I knew you could handle it. So check it out. Just real quick, we'll throw up Peter again. He said hobbies go out the window for me. All right, Peter, listen. We all have some hobbies that we can probably throw out. Cool. All right, man. Brad, thanks a lot for joining, man. We'll catch you around. Don't be a stranger, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, Brad.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, man. All right, everyone. Y'all have a good week. We'll be back next time. Joe, we do need to talk about our go ahead and make your promotions for the giveaway and stuff like that.
Yes, we'll announce the giveaway. So this week again, as we tweeted out, $50 gift card to Coffee and Motivation Company. They've been great with helping us with regramming all of Bobby and I's content. So we really appreciate the support for Founder Jam there. And in a couple moments, our tweet for raising funds for code.org is going to go live. And we're starting to get some momentum, right? You're seeing that now. Bobby and I were just talking about it. So hopefully we will be able to raise a lot of awareness and some finance, some funding for code.org. If you have ideas of other organizations you want us to support, or if you're a company looking to provide support and also get your brand out there, definitely DM Bobby and I. We would love to connect with you. And again, when we started this, it was really about philanthropy and bringing people together around the world. That's our mission with this. And if we can help people through entrepreneurship, that's tremendous. That's the goal with doing this every week. So don't be shy. Hit us up. And we're going to continue. So we got some feedback from everyone. They'd love to keep the topics going throughout the week. So Bobby and I chatted, and we're going to keep the topic going throughout the week on Twitter. So follow us there. We have tons of great content. You'll see some really great stuff coming out soon from a peak performance expert. We'll start talking about that today. And we'll see you on Twitter. Thanks again for the support. I hope everyone has a great weekend. Thanks, Bobby.
All right. See y'all. Co.org.